to the world decades after the original. Outbreak, shifting the tone from survival horror to something more philosophical and societal. This shift is in line with broader science fiction and horror storytelling where emotional depth and ethical complexity are now processed as or more than visual.
Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing, nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use.
¿Qué pasa? ¡Agacha!
Ya pasó. Ahí ya guarda. ¡Rápido!
Jimmy,
¿Qué sucede?
alguien trató de matarme.
¿Qué?
Pues ponlo en el teléfono.
Tiene que ayudar.
Solo pon a Teo en el puto teléfono. Hablas conmigo. ¿Quién dijo eso? ¿De qué hablas? ¿Qué tan cercano? Irían primero con él. Ni siquiera puedo ir con mi propia gente. Los posee a todos.
Oye, shh, oye.
Es diferente. A mí... No para ti.
Vamos a seguir
No
juntos.
sé.
Hagamos algo.
Si compras algo, si rentas un video. Mira, puedes estar en Iowa y pueden... ¿Qué?
Para Debbie.
¿Le dijiste dónde estamos?
Momento.
¿Tiene identificador de llamadas?
¿En moteles baratos y comer basura?
¿Le diste tu número? Sí. Nos quedaremos otro.
¿A dónde va?
Tal vez no lo pensé bien, pero todos estos años, tú sabes que él ha pasado. ¿Por qué no?
Todos los buenos tiempos, pero lo siento.
¿El FBI? ¿Qué es? No puedo. Las cosas siguen empeorando. Solo haz que desaparezca.
Bobby B. Batman. Actualmente presidente del club de la Asociación del Partido Demócrata jamás y extorsión de Teo Cruz. ¿Eh? ¿Ustedes rezan juntos? ¿Eso crees? Tenemos una... Atraviesas mi puerta caminando. Es algo... Tanto no... Cuando Teo decidió asesinarte, aparecen.
Pues arrésteme.
Queremos a Teo más que a ti. Solo por una estúpida acusación por juego. Fredo Mali y Frank Wynn. No. Entraste aquí. Veniste a nosotros, recuerda. Puto suelo ahora mismo. Bobby. Vemos al sujeto que intentó liquidarte.
A Jimmy Stinch que...
Más alto.
Y Teo puso un arma en la boca de O'Malley y Jimmy que colgara a Frank Wynn por el cuello. Teo en persona hasta matarlo. Horas.
Firme este contrato. Diciendo que repetirás eso.
Oh.
¿Sabes qué, Bobby?
Es familia. Cariño, los federales dijeron... ¿Qué somos? ¿Qué somos? Por favor. Mamá, dijimos que no haríamos esto.
Pablo, guardaré para ti. Este fue de excelencia en periodismo.
Aquí llevar una vida normal.
Ya llegaron.
¿También, chicos?
Aunque 7.
El portatrajes cuenta como valija.
Y el perrito debe...
Quiero pedirle por última vez que entregue cualquier arma que tenga en su...
Dios, Frank, ¿viste eso?
Tranquila, tranquila.
Enfrente de...
Perrito, tú lo dijiste.
¡Hijas! ¡Ahora son 7 valijas!
No pasa nada, tranquilo.
¡Llene a mis hijos de veneno para que odien a su padre!
Adiós, abuela.
No te
Adiós.
vayas. Mi niña. Yo lo cuidaré, niño. Te pondré tu abrigo. Ven. Adiós, papá. Ay, por Dios, no.
Manténganse en silencio. No digan quiénes son.
Favor de abordar por la puerta 6.
I am Legend 2, 2026. Hello friends, welcome back to my channel friends. This is not a movie, this is a full detail review and fact video about this movie. If you want to know about this movie, then you must like this video, because in today's video we will tell you what is its story, which actors and actresses have worked in this film. I Am Legend 2. The director, producer, cameraman of this film is going to talk about them in detail. We will talk about the post-production, pre-production budget and filming of this film. The star cast of the film will also give details about the supporting cast and production. Guys, if you want to know about this movie, you must watch this video. You will find all the details of this movie in this video. What is the story of this movie? If you like this video, then share it with your friends and subscribe our channel. I thought I was the last man alive to fight. Was the last man once, but I'm done running. This time I fight, and I won't be the last one standing. The sequel, I Am Legend 2, finds its roots in a cinematic legacy that dates back to the mid-th century. The original I Am Legend film, released in 2007 and starring Will Smith, is based on Richard Matt's 1954 novel of the same name. Novel has inspired several film adaptations over the decades, including The Last Man on Earth, 1964, and The Omega Man, 1971, but none left as strong a cultural impact as the 2007 adaptation. The film, directed by Francis Lawrence, portrayed a desolate New York City ravaged by a man-made virus and became a commercial success, grossing over $585 million worldwide. It earned praise not only for Will Smith's emotionally resonant performance, but also for its haunting visuals and post-apocalyptic world building. However, while it was generally well received, the ending polarized audiences and critics alike. The theatrical ending, in which Dr. Robert Neville sacrifices himself to save a cure for the virus diverged from the original novel's more nuanced and tragic conclusion, in which Neville realizes he is a monster in the eyes of the new species of humanity created by the virus. Years later, it's the alternate ending, in which Neville survives and discovers a deeper truth about the infected, gained popularity, and eventually became the basis for the long-awaited sequel. Warner Brothers Pictures, the powerhouse studio behind the first film, retained control of the franchise and is now spearheading the development of I Am Legend 2. The sequel is not merely a studio cash-in. It represents a strategic and narrative expansion of a world that still holds significant cultural relevance nearly 2 decades after its debut. Warner Brothers has partnered with 2 major creative entities for this project: Westbrook Studios and Outlier Society. Westbrook Studios is co-founded by Will Smith and represents his broader involvement in producing film and television projects that reflect both his artistic vision and social commentary. Outlier Society is the production company of Michael B. Jordan, the acclaimed actor and producer known for his work in Creed, Black Panther, Just Mercy. Both production companies are recognized for supporting projects that emphasize representation, complexity, and cinematic excellence. By aligning these 2 influential artists and their creative platforms, I Am Legend 2 becomes more than a sequel. It transforms into a modern reimagining shaped by 2 generations of Hollywood talent. The production model of I Am Legend 2 is unique in that both Will Smith and Michael B. Jordan are not only leading the film on screen, but also shaping its creative direction behind the scenes. This dual involvement suggests a level of personal investment and narrative control that is rare in large studio projects. As producers, Smith and Jordan have a say in everything from casting to script development to thematic direction, ensuring the story remains cohesive, relevant, and resonant. The collaboration between Warner Brothers, Westbrook Studios, and Outlier Society also reflects a broader industry trend toward artist-driven blockbusters that prioritize both spectacle and substance. While Warner Brothers provides the infrastructure, distribution, and financial backing necessary for a film of this scale, the creative voice will come from the ground up, from those who have lived with the characters, stories, and emotional stakes for years. This promises a film that stays true to its roots while innovating for a new audience in the post-pandemic, post-legacy sequel era. The journey to officially confirming eye recognition with the infected creatures began to change the perception of what a sequel could look like. Over time, this alternate ending became the canonical choice for fans and eventually for the filmmakers. The official announcement for I Am Legend 2 came in March 2022, confirmed the studio's intent to inject fresh energy and modern sensibilities into the story. Since the 2022 announcement, the development of Legend 2 has been active but cautious. The screenplay is being developed by Akiva Goldsman, who also co-wrote the original film. Goldsman has emphasized that the sequel will follow the alternate ending and will remain more faithful to the spirit of Matt's original novel. According to early interviews and insider reports, the creative team is focusing on crafting a mature, thematically rich story rather than relying on high-octane action sequences or superficial spectacle. The narrative is intended to explore what has happened to the world decades after the original outbreak, shifting the tone from survival horror to something more philosophical and societal. This shift is in line with broader trends in science, fiction, and horror storytelling, where emotional depth and ethical complexity are now prized as much as or more than visual effects. As of mid-2026, the film is still in pre-production, which means that the script is being refined, casting discussions are ongoing, and locations and budgetary logistics are being finalized. No director has been officially attached yet, although rumors point to Stephen Cable Jr., best known for directing Transformers: Rise of the Beasts, as a potential candidate. Capella is known for his ability to balance character development with blockbuster action, making him a suitable choice if negotiations succeed. Meanwhile, the studio and producers are also evaluating potential cinematographers, production designers, and VFX teams capable of recreating a believable and inspiring post-apocalyptic world. While the lack of an official production schedule may disappoint some fans, this deliberate pacing suggests that the filmmakers are taking the time to get it right, rather than rushing to capitalize on brand recognition. The development status also reflects the modern challenges of making a high-concept science fiction film in a post-pandemic film industry. Logistics, safety protocols, union negotiations, and global economic shifts all affect how and when a movie can begin production. However, the level of talent involved both in front of and behind the camera suggests that Warner Brothers is positioning I Am Legend 2 as a tentpole project, likely aimed at both theatrical release and premium streaming platforms. By blending legacy characters with new voices, familiar settings with evolved stakes, and studio muscle with artistic vision, I Am Legend 2 is shaping up to be not just a continuation, but a thoughtful evolution of a beloved cinematic universe. The narrative direction of I Am Legend 2 represents a bold and thoughtful shift in how sequels to science fiction properties are typically approached. Rather than rehashing the original story or relying purely on action and suspense, the sequel is positioned to explore what it means to be human in a changed world, long after society as we knew it has collapsed. The plot builds directly on the alternate ending of the original film in which Dr. Robert Neville survives his final confrontation with the infected creatures. In this alternate conclusion, he comes to understand that the monsters he had been killing and experimenting on were not mindless animals, but a new species, developing their own social structure, emotional capacity, and even morality. This moment of realization reframes Neville not as a hero, but as a tragic figure, a relic of the old world who is feared by the new one. I Am Legend 2 picks up several decades after these events. The world is no longer simply post-apocalyptic. It is post-human in many ways. Cities have been completely overtaken by nature. Streets are filled with vines and trees. Wildlife roams freely, and man-made structures are slowly decaying under the weight of time and weather. The few pockets of human survivors live in isolated settlements hidden away, clinging to fragments of pre-collapsed culture and knowledge. Technology has mostly failed. Resources are limited and hope is a fragile commodity. Within this backdrop, Robert Neville is believed to still be alive, older, wiser, and burdened by the sins of his past. He is no longer the solitary scientist searching for a cure, but rather a man trying to find meaning in a world where humanity is no longer at the center of existence. At the heart of the story is the idea of evolution, not just biological but societal and philosophical. The infected, once perceived only as monsters, are now shown to have evolved. Further, they are no longer simply nocturnal predators. Some of them have developed advanced forms of communication, territorial boundaries, and even ritualistic behaviors. Others are rumored to be sentient enough to engage in negotiation and strategic thinking. This evolution presents a massive ideological challenge for what's left of humanity. Are these beings still enemies, or are they the next phase of intelligent life on Earth? Should they be fought, feared, or understood? These are the types of questions I Am Legend 2 aims to explore. Another major theme is isolation versus community. The first film was defined by Neville's solitude, his mental and emotional deterioration, and his desire to reconnect with anyone who might still be out there. The sequel, the story shifts to examine the tension between individual survival and collective existence. Human survivors are no longer living alone like Neville did in the first film. They formed enclaves, albeit fragile and mistrustful ones. Leadership, governance, and ethics have become critical issues. Do they try to rebuild the world as it was, or do they create something new, something that takes into account the presence of the infected as a coexisting species? Themes of redemption and legacy also play a central role. Neville, having rivers and animals have returned to places once covered in concrete, In this stillness, there is beauty, but also a constant threat. That's a tone directly lifted from The Last of Us, where abandoned cities become haunting museums of human history, each corner hiding a story, a memory, or a danger. Another key similarity is the emphasis on complex relationships in the face of trauma. In The Last of Us, characters are often deeply wounded physically, emotionally, or spiritually. Survival isn't just a matter of having weapons or strength, but of having something worth surviving for a person, a belief, a dream. I Am Legend 2 will explore similar relational dynamics. Early story hints suggest that Michael B. Jordan's character, a survivor leader, may be trying to build or protect a community, and that his relationship with Robert Neville may be one of tension, mentorship, or philosophical opposition. Perhaps one believes in coexistence with the evolved infected, while the other believes in resisting them. These emotional and ideological battles will drive the heart of the film. Moreover, The Last of Us is known for its portrayal of moral ambiguity. There are no true heroes or villains, only people making impossible choices in a broken world. I Am Legend 2 appears to be walking the same line. The infected, once seen as pure antagonists, are now potentially morally complex beings with their own language, family units, or hierarchies. How humans choose to deal with them reflects their own capacity for growth or regression. In a way, the infected have become a mirror for humanity, showing us what we once were, what we could become, and what we fear most about change. The stylistic influence of The Last of Us is also seen in the use of environmental storytelling. Rather than rely solely on dialogue or exposition, the sequel is expected to use visuals, abandoned schools, overgrown parks, decaying libraries, and ruined art galleries to tell the story of what happened between the first film and this one. Every ruin is a message. Every artifact is a clue. This method allows the audience to become explorers in the story world, piecing together what went wrong and what may still be possible. Finally, the new direction takes cues from The Last of Us in its humanization of the apocalypse. The apocalypse is not just an event. It's a condition. It affects psychology, memory, hope, and relationships. People in I Am Legend 2 aren't just trying to avoid being killed. They're trying to remember who they were, what they lost, and what they're willing to fight for. Now, that emotional grounding mixed with an eerie melancholic beauty is what will set I Am Legend 2 apart from other survival horror sequels. The character, lineup and casting choices in I Am Legend 2 are central not only to the narrative direction, but also to the thematic tone the sequel intends to explore. At the heart of the film's cast is Will Smith, reprising his iconic role as Dr. Robert Neville, the variologist and sole survivor, as far as he knew of the original film. This time, however, Neville is no longer the desperate man, consumed by grief, guilt, and scientific obsession. In the sequel, we're expected to meet an older, wearier version of Neville, one who has lived with the knowledge of his past mistakes and the burden of having misunderstood the creatures he once hunted. Smith's performance is likely to reflect deeper psychological layering, less driven by action and more by introspection, regret, and perhaps the cautious hope for reconciliation or redemption. The decision to bring Will Smith back was a bold one, especially considering his character's death in the original theatrical ending. But by choosing to canonize the alternate ending in which Neville survives after realizing that the infected were not mindless monsters, but an emerging intelligent species, the filmmakers open the door for a more complex continuation of his story. Neville's role in the sequel isn't expected to be that of a traditional hero. Instead, he may serve as a living symbol of the past, someone who embodies the fall of human civilization, the arrogance of scientific certainty, and the painful lessons learned through isolation and loss. What the chemistry between Will Smith and Michael B. Gordon is expected to carry much of the emotional weight of the film. Their characters may start off at odds, one still carrying the guilt and instincts of the past, the other embracing a future where coexistence might be possible. Their conflict could represent a broader philosophical debate about survival versus progress, rebuilding versus transforming, and fear versus, and allow the story to touch on how trauma and hope are passed across generations. As for the infected, if the sequel continues the alternate tending thread and the concept of their evolution, then we may see named infected characters with distinct personalities and motives, perhaps even played by actors and performance capture roles. This would dramatically shift the tone of the franchise. No longer just faceless antagonists, these beings could represent an entirely new civilization, one that forces human characters to confront uncomfortable truths about dominance, morality, and identity. In doing so, I Am Legend 2 has the potential to introduce a unique kind of antagonist, not necessarily evil, but deeply different, guided by instincts and intelligence, shaped by the virus, but grounded in survival. Ultimately, the cast of I Am Legend 2 is not just about talent, though it has that in abundance, but about serving the film's emotional and philosophical core through the contrast between old and new, science and survival, regret and hope. The characters are poised to push the franchise into new territory. If executed well, the sequel won't just expand the story, but deepen the legacy of I Am Legend by making it not only a cautionary tale, but a meditation on what it means to live, adapt, and connect in a world that no longer belongs entirely to us. In the original I Am Legend, The primary antagonists were the Darkseekers, humans who had been infected by the Crippen virus and transformed into violent vampire-like creatures. Their sensitivity to sunlight and an animalistic behavior and apparent lack of intelligence made them seem like traditional horror monsters, designed to terrify and hunt the last human survivors. But in the alternate ending of the 2007 film, viewers were introduced to a profound twist. The Dark Seekers were not mindless. They had structure, emotion, and loyalty. This pivotal moment when one of them risks everything to save a captured mate completely reframe their role in the story, who are no longer just infected. You are a new species reacting to the threat that Robert Neville posed to their kind. I Am Legend 2 is set to lean fully into this perspective. Rather than presenting the Darkseekers as monsters to be exterminated, the sequel is expected to explore them as an evolving civilization with social dynamics, intelligence, and possibly even language. This change represents a radical departure from the traditional zombie or infected tropes that dominate apocalyptic fiction. The infected in this world have not only survived, they have adapted, evolved, and multiplied. They may now inhabit their own territories, have rudimentary laws or customs, and exhibit higher order thinking. This evolution is key to the film's central conflict. Humans are no longer alone, nor are they necessarily at the top of the food chain. The infected might even view humans as the true threat, a force that once hunted them, tried to cure them, failed to understand them. One of the most intriguing possibilities is that I Am Legend 2 might give us point-of-view scenes from the perspective of the Darkseekers. We could see how they communicate, how they organize, and how they interpret their own existence. Perhaps they see Neville not as a scientist or savior, but as a ghost of the old world, a dangerous relic of human cruelty. The philosophical weight of this approach would be enormous. It would shift the conflict from one of simple survival to one of coexistence versus conquest, understanding versus fear, and adaptation versus nostalgia. The film may also introduce new variations of the infected since decades have passed. Mutations may have resulted in different subspecies, some more intelligent, others more dangerous. There could be elder infected who remember the early days of the outbreak, or alpha infected with heightened senses and leadership abilities. These variations would allow the sequel to explore complex societal dynamics within the infected themselves, raising questions of hierarchy, purpose, and philosophy. Interestingly, the infected are not framed strictly as villains in the sequel's vision. In fact, the real antagonists may be ideologies, the fear, ignorance, and resistance to change that prevent peaceful coexistence. If certain,
fan talk ending.
human factions still see the infected as
Engagement,
monsters and certain infected factions see humans as enemies, then the story becomes a reflection of our own world. Struggles with prejudice, misunderstanding, and fear of the unknown. This blurring of moral lines transforms the infected from horror creatures into morally gray reflections of ourselves. This approach gives I Am Legend to the opportunity to redefine what it means to face monsters. Perhaps the monsters are not those who were changed by the virus, but those who refuse to change at all. Those who cling to the old world so tightly they're willing to destroy the new one. In this way, the film can go beyond horror and into social commentary, asking what it takes to truly survive, not just as individuals, but as a species. The creative force behind I Am Legend 2 is shaping up to be one of the most carefully curated in recent Hollywood science fiction history. Unlike many sequels that are fast-tracked based on brand recognition or box office returns, I Am Legend 2 is taking a deliberate and measured approach to artistic intent, long-term vision, and philosophical depth. At the center of the sequel's creative team is Aka Goldsman, the original screenwriter, who co-wrote the first film and has now returned as the lead writer and one of the key producers for the sequel. His involvement is both a nod to continuity and a signal of evolution. Goldsman has publicly acknowledged that one of the major lessons from the original was the importance of the alternate ending where Dr. Neville survives and recognizes the humanity within the infected. That ending, once an optional DVD extra, has become the foundation for this new narrative. It's rare in Hollywood for a franchise to publicly course correct its own canon, but that's exactly what's happening here, and it's due in large part to Goldsman's commitment to thematic integrity over traditional blockbuster formulas. Aka Goldsman is known for his work on projects that straddle science fiction, drama, and complex character studies such as A Beautiful Mind, Fringe, and Star Trek. Peakward. His sensibilities are not rooted in spectacle for spectacle's sake, but in character-driven conflict, moral ambiguity, and emotionally resonant storytelling. This aligns perfectly with the new direction of I Am Legend 2, which aims to be more than just a survival story. It intends to explore what it means to rebuild belief systems, reconcile with enemies, and question the very definitions of civilization and intelligence. Under his guidance, the script has been evolving, not just to accommodate returning and new characters, but to reflect a deeper engagement with today's real world. Themes such as societal division, identity, and cohabitation with forces we don't fully understand. As of now, the director for I Am Legend 2 has not been officially confirmed, but several industry insiders have pointed towards Stephen Cable Jr. as a likely candidate. Cable, known for directing Creed 2 and Transformers: Rise of the Beasts has demonstrated a unique ability to handle franchise pressure while keeping emotional intimacy at the forefront. His films often blend kinetic energy with grounded character arcs, which makes him an ideal match for a story that needs to navigate both suspenseful horror and psychological exploration. If selected, Cable's direction could bring a new visual identity to the I Am Legend universe, one that captures the scale of a crumbling, overgrown world, but keeps the camera close enough to read the emotional scars of its inhabitants. Behind the camera, there are rumors that the film may involve some of the same production designers and visual effects supervisors who contributed to the Last of Us television adaptation and Children of Men. If true, this would reinforce the tonal shift the sequel is aiming for. Bleak yet beautiful, desolate, but layered with meaning. From a production design standpoint, the visual storytelling will play an enormous role. The cityscapes, the infected environments, and the architectural decay must all feel natural to a world. Not be a shallow action sequel, but a meaningful continuation of a narrative that still has emotional and intellectual relevance. In summary, the creative team behind I Am Legend 2 is crafting a sequel that honors the original while aiming to elevate it in scope, thought, and artistry. The careful selection of returning and new creatives incurred by aka Goldsman's vision and influenced by visionary directors and actor-producers promises a film that will resonate far beyond its post-apocalyptic setting. Visually, I Am Legend 2 is expected to be a hauntingly beautiful meditative exploration of a world that no longer belongs to us. The original film was lauded for its depiction of a deserted New York City, with Times Square overrun by silence, cracked streets, sprouting weeds, and wild animals reclaiming urban spaces. The sequel plans to expand this aesthetic exponentially, with decades having passed since the virus outbreak. The Earth is no longer simply abandoned. It's been reclaimed by nature in totality. This setting transforms familiar cityscapes into strange, breathtaking ruins. Forests now grow through skyscrapers, subway tunnels flood with groundwater and aquatic life, and bridges collapse beneath flowering vines and corrosion. It's a vision of Earth not destroyed by humans, but healed in their absence. And it carries a quiet, almost spiritual sadness. The visual style will likely emphasize long, contemplative shots that let the audience absorb the silence and stillness of the world. Unlike the loud chaos of most apocalyptic films, I Am Legend, who intends to find power in stillness seen, the way light filters through dust-filled air, in the sound of wind passing through rusted metal, in the eerie tranquility of a city overtaken by flora and fauna. Every visual element will serve not just as background but as a reminder of what has been lost and what persists in spite of it. There will be no bustling streets, no functioning machines, no digital screens. The earth has reverted to something ancient, primal and silent. Yet within that silence, life continues. Human settlements, when seen, will contrast starkly with the beauty and wildness of the world outside. These enclaves will likely be ramshackle and improvised, built from salvaged materials powered by solar panels and guided by oral history rather than recorded technology, walls built from broken vehicles, barricades of old scaffolding, gardens growing in abandoned malls. This is the visual language of survival. And I am legend too. Light sources will be limited to fire, candle light, or low-energy lamps, creating a palette that leans toward natural hues, browns, greens, grays, and deep oranges. The film may also explore new regions outside of New York since the infected have spread and the human population has declined drastically. Other abandoned cities or natural landscapes could serve as significant locations. Imagine Washington, D.C., covered in moss, or Chicago swallowed by lake waters. The sequel has the chance to visually expand the world and show different types of post-human landscape. Siege, carrying its own aesthetic and emotional weight. From a design standpoint, the look of the evolved infected will also play a vital role in the visual storytelling. Rather than grotesque monsters, the sequel may depict them with human-like but alien characteristics, elongated limbs, bioluminescent skin adapted to darkness, expressive faces that show traces of emotion, or body markings that indicate tribal identity. Their movements might be more purposeful, less frenzied, and more aligned with animals that hunt strategically rather than blindly. This evolution in their visual design will be key to emphasizing the shift in their role from mindless enemy to a complex and perhaps noble force of nature. The cinematography is likely to reflect the emotional and thematic undercurrents of the story. Handheld camera work could be used to convey the uncertainty and tension of life among both human and infected groups. Wide, locked shots might highlight isolation and the grandeur of the decaying world. Drone footage may be used to show sweeping vistas of ruined cities, overtaken by nature. It's offering a sobering contrast between the world that was and the one that now exists. In every frame, the visual language will underscore the central question of the film. Who truly owns the future, us or the beings we left behind? In essence, the visual style and setting of I Am Legend 2 won't merely support the story. They will become the story conveying emotion, history, and meaning without a single word. It will be a world full of ghosts of memories of lost progress and of possibilities never realized. I Am Legend 2 is poised to delve deeply into themes far beyond the surface thrills of survival horror and post-apocalyptic action. At its core, the film seeks to explore the complex relationship between humanity and nature, the fragile boundaries between what we define as civilized and what we fear as other. The original film touched on isolation and loss, but the sequel is expanding these motifs into a profound meditation on coexistence, evolution, and morality. One of the central thematic questions that I Am Legend raises is, what does it mean to be human in a world transformed by forces beyond our control? Dr. Robert Neville's journey in the sequel is less about defeating monsters and more about confronting his own role in humanity's downfall and possible rebirth. The film wrestles with human arrogance, the tendency to believe that our way of life is the only correct way, and challenges that belief by presenting the infected not as enemies but as a new form of life that demands recognition and respect. This theme resonates with contemporary ecological concerns. The virus that devastated humanity and created the infected acts as a metaphor for nature's unpredictable and often unforgiving power to reshape life on Earth. The infected are not just victims of a plague. They are agents of transformation, pushing the planet toward a new ecological balance that humans can no longer control. This raises uncomfortable ethical dilemmas. Should humanity try to reclaim its dominance at any cost, or accept a new world order where humans might no longer be the apex species? Closely tied to this is the theme of redemption and forgiveness. Neville, who in the original movie embodied scientific hubris and personal tragedy, now faces the possibility of atoning for his past mistakes. His evolution mirrors humanity's potential to grow beyond fear and destruction toward empathy and understanding. The relationship between Neville and the survivors, particularly Michael B. Jordan's character, also brings the theme of generational legacy to the forefront. They represent two distinct responses to trauma and survival. One, clinging to the ideals of the past, the other embracing the necessity of adaptation. The infected themselves symbolize the philosophical concept of the other, those we perceive as alien or threatening, who nonetheless share the same existential drive to live and thrive. By humanizing them and giving them culture, intelligence, and emotion, the film challenges the audience to confront their own prejudices and fears. It asks, are we truly so different from those we label monsters? What responsibilities do we have toward beings who don't fit our definition of humanity? Another major theme is hope in the face of desolation. Like many apocalyptic stories that focus on despair, I Am Legend 2 seeks to balance bleakness with the possibility of renewal. The post-apocalyptic landscape is not just a graveyard. It is also a place of quiet beauty and potential growth. This is reflected visually and narratively in the way nature reclaims the world and in the possibility of new alliances between humans and infected. The film also engages with the ethics of science and control. Neville's work with the virus originally intended to cure and save ended up catalyzing disaster. This points to the dangers of unchecked scientific experimentation without ethical oversight or empathy. The sequel can be expected to explore the consequences of playing God in the need for humility in the face of nature's mysteries. In a broader sense, I Am Legend 2 is a story about identity and transformation. As humanity is forced to adapt or perish, the boundaries between self and other, human and non-human, predator and prey blur. The film challenges viewers to rethink what defines civilization, progress, and survival, not just physically, but morally and spiritually. It invites us to ask difficult questions about coexistence, tolerance, and the sacrifices necessary to build a new future. The marketing campaign for I Am Legend 2 is being designed with the dual purpose of appealing to fans of the original film and introducing the sequel as a fresh, thoughtful reimagining of the franchise. Unlike the standard blockbuster approach that leans heavily on action-packed trailers and flashy effects, the promotional materials are expected to emphasize atmosphere, mystery, and the film's thematic depth. Early teasers focus on evocative imagery, overgrown cityscapes, fleeting glimpses of evolved infected, the emotional faces of the leads rather than outright spoilers or exposition. The casting of Will Smith and Michael B. Jordan as Cold EDS has generated significant buzz, especially given their real-world influence as producers. Both actors have large diverse fan bases and are known for choosing projects that balance commercial appeal with artistic integrity. Their involvement assures audiences that the film will have both star power and thoughtful storytelling, appealing to a wide demographic that ranges from sci-fi enthusiasts to fans of character-driven drama. Social media marketing leverages these strengths by encouraging conversations about the film's themes and potential directions. Official accounts post concept art, behind-scenes glimpses, and interviews where Smith, Jordan, Goldsman discuss the challenges of continuing a beloved story in a way that respects its legacy while breaking new ground. This approach builds anticipation among cinephiles eager for something more intellectually engaging than typical apocalyptic fare. Another major marketing strategy involves collaborations with environmental organizations and scientific communities. The film's ecological themes make it an excellent candidate for partnership campaigns, highlighting climate change, biodiversity, and humanity's impact on the planet. These collaborations help position I Am Legend to not just as entertainment, but as part of a broader cultural conversation about our future. This strategic alignment deepens audience engagement by linking the film's fictional crisis to real-world Issues. Merchandising, while not the central focus, includes collectibles that emphasize the sequel's unique visual style, art books, limited edition posters, and figures of the evolved infected creatures catered to hardcore fans and collectors who appreciate detailed world building. Unlike traditional franchise merchandising, focused on action figures and toys, these products highlight the film's artistry and narrative complexity. The release strategy for I Am Legend 2 reflects modern cinematic trends. The film is set for a simultaneous theatrical and streaming release, maximizing accessibility while catering to changing audience habits. This hybrid approach allows the film to reach global audiences quickly, particularly important for a story with universal themes and visual spectacle that benefit from large-screen viewing. Critically, the marketing team has been careful to avoid overhyping the film as just another sequel. Instead, the messaging frames it as a re-examination and revolution of the original story, promising surprises for longtime fans and newcomers alike. Its balanced messaging aims to manage expectations while fueling curiosity and debate. The teaser trailers released far have been met with a mix of excitement and cautious optimism. Fans appreciate the willingness to shift the narrative from pure survival horror to something more ambitious and meaningful. Discussions on forums and social media speculate on possible plot twists, character arcs, and the fate of the infected, fueling word-of-mouth anticipation. Overall, the marketing for I Am Legend 2 is strategic, nuanced, and reflective of the film's intent to break away from formulaic sequels. It builds intrigue, not by promising explosions and action set pieces, but by inviting audiences to ponder deeper questions about humanity, survival, and coexistence. This approach positions the film as a potential critical and cultural landmark within the sci-fi and post-apocalyptic genres. The sequel I Am Legend 2 finds its roots in a cinematic legacy that dates back to the mid-century. The original I Am Legend film released in 2007 and starring Will Smith is based on Richard Matt's 1954 novel of the same name. Novel has inspired several film adaptations over the decades, including The Last Man on Earth, 1964, and The Omega Man, 1971, but none left as strong a cultural impact as the 2007 adaptation. The film, directed by Francis Lawrence, portrayed a desolate New York City ravaged by a man-made virus and became a commercial success, grossing over $585 million worldwide. It earned praise not only for Will Smith's emotionally resonant performance, but also for its haunting visuals and post-apocalyptic worldbuilding. However, while it was generally well received, the ending polarized audiences and critics. Alike, the theatrical ending, in which Dr. Robert Neville sacrifices himself to save a cure for the virus, diverged from the original novel's more nuanced and tragic conclusion, which Neville realizes he is a monster in the eyes of the new species of humanity created by the virus. Years later, it's the alternate ending in which Neville survives and discovers a deeper truth about the infected, gained popularity and eventually became the basis for the long-awaited sequel. Warner Brothers Pictures, the powerhouse studio behind the first film, has retained control of the franchise and is now spearheading the development of I Am Legend 2. The sequel is not merely a studio cash-in, it represents a strategic and narrative expansion of a world that still holds significant cultural relevance nearly 2 decades after its debut. Warner Brothers has partnered with 2 major creative entities for this project: Westbrook Studios and Outlier Society. Westbrook Studios is co-founded by Will Smith and represents his broader involvement in producing film and television projects that reflect both his artistic vision and social commentary. Outlier Society is the production company of Michael B. Jordan, the acclaimed actor and producer known for his work in Creed, Black Panther, Just Mercy. Both production companies are recognized for supporting projects that emphasize representation, complexity, and cinematic excellence. By aligning these 2 influential artists and their creative platforms, I Am Legend 2 becomes more than a sequel, it transforms into a modern reimagining shaped by 2 generations of Hollywood talent. The production model of I Am Legend 2 is unique in that both Will Smith and Michael B. Jordan are not only leading the film on screen but also shaping its creative direction behind the scenes. This dual involvement suggests a level of personal investment and narrative control that is rare in large studio projects. As producers, Smith and Jordan have a say in everything from casting to script development to thematic direction, ensuring the story remains cohesive, relevant, and resonant. The collaboration between Warner Brothers, Westbrook Studios, and Outlier Society also reflects a broader industry trend toward artist-driven blockbusters that prioritize both spectacle and substance. While Warner Brothers provides the infrastructure, distribution, and financial backing necessary for a film of this scale, the creative voice will come from the ground up, from those who have lived with the characters, stories, and emotional stakes for years. This promises a film that stays true to its roots while innovating for a new audience in the post-pandemic, post-legacy sequel era. The journey to officially confirming I Am Legend 2 has been a long and winding road, marked by rumors, fan speculation, and internal studio deliberations. Ever since the original film's release in 2007, fans and critics have questioned whether a sequel would materialize. Various ideas were floated over the years, including prequels, spin-offs, and alternate versions, but none moved beyond the early development stages. What made the idea of a sequel particularly challenging was the fact that Will Smith's character, Dr. Robert Neville, died in the theatrical ending. This narrative finality seemed to shut the door on a direct continuation. However, the growing popularity of the alternate ending, in which Neville survives and achieves a moment of mutual recognition with the infected creatures, began to change the perception of what a sequel could look like. Over time, this alternate ending became the canonical choice for fans and eventually for the filmmakers. The official announcement for I Am Legend 2 came in March 2022, when Warner Brothers confirmed that the project was moving forward with both Will Smith and Michael B. Jordan attached to star and produce. This announcement was met with excitement and